Soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thoughts and harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse of only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, man. Big up everybody inside the building. This one's going to be very, very interesting. Now, I'm recording this, by the way. It is the 23rd of January. I have to put the date out there because I don't know what's going to happen. But I don't even know when this video is going to be released. I don't know if Nunez is going to score 6 goals by the time that this video is. I have no idea. But I just had to make sure that everyone understood that this video is being recorded on the 23rd. You know me already. I don't do revisionism. I don't do excuses. I don't give a shit about none of that kind of stuff. So I don't care about recency bias and all of that. I don't care. I really don't care. We're here to take a look at the player himself, and that is Darwin Nunez. Now, I've tried to stay away in terms of doing streams and stuff like that solely focused on him, but I felt like I needed to this time because I just said, you know me, guys, like I get triggered very quickly. So when I see people saying certain things about said player, Darwin Nunez, it just makes me think to myself, what? And listen, at the end of the day, it's a conversation, isn't it? And I'm not, and listen, what I want people to also take away from this video is whether you like it, hate me, dislike, whatever, I don't actually care. It's more about, I'm not trying to come from a malicious place or anything like that, but it is to take a look at one of the players who play for my football team. Do we think as a community, as a fan base, do we think that this player is good enough to stay at this football club? Forget January or whatever. Whenever you want him to leave or stay, it doesn't really matter. I'm just talking in a general sense. Do we feel like this player, is going to be good enough for us moving forward? Now, obviously, this is taken from the game that Nunez scored 2 goals in. Won us the game against Brentford, which is absolutely fantastic. 2 really, really good goals, by the way. I don't even want to take away, from Darwin Nunez, because they were really, 2 really good goals. He scored goals like this anyway, to be honest, since he's been at the football club, right? Where he's just, done a madness and, saved us, whether it's Newcastle game and, things like that. But, one of the things I'm hearing quite a lot this season, which has hurt me, and I remember I was going to do this video a little while ago, but I held off for a little bit, and I said, you know what, now's probably the perfect time, because obviously, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen between now and the time that this video drops, but yeah, the excuses I'm hearing for Nunez is, would we say, quote unquote, poor form, so to speak, has been, because he's not getting enough chances. When I say poor form, I mean in terms of not really scoring, goals, for the team. And the thing I'm hearing is, not really getting enough chances. The team don't really play for him. What other stuff am I hearing? We don't really, more those 2, to be honest. We just don't really play for him. And it's kind of that. And I was like, okay, fairs, if that's the way we kind of see it. Obviously, this is Nunez, obviously in his first season, joining Liverpool. Pretty decent season. Well, I say pretty decent season, that's a lie. In terms of the stats, 19 goals and assists. And that's another thing as well. Let me even start again. That in itself even bugs me, the fact that I've even just said that. I've just annoyed myself by saying that. I don't care about the assist. I really don't. You don't sign a striker and say, I wonder how many assists he gets. Nobody cares. This thing that we've got in today's day and age, where we are so fixated on GA, and I get it, obviously, the way football is nowadays, in terms of everybody wants their team to be, involved in all aspects of the game. So when we talk about strikers, they need to be heavily involved in GA. They need to get goals and they need to get assists, which is probably unfair, to be fair, in my opinion. I feel like it's a little bit unfair, but obviously that's how the tactics are and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think anybody would care if, for example, we read this and he had 42 games that season, but scored 30 goals and got 1 assist. I guarantee no one's going to say he got 31 GA. You know what you would say? He got 30 goals. You wouldn't say that he got 31 GA. Like, you might say it in terms of just maybe in conversation, potentially, if you're just trying to, just speak on him and in a general sense. But you would just be like, nah, he got 30 goals this season. That's what you'd be fixated on. And that, for me, again, this is just my opinion. For me, that's where I'll be like, yeah, of course, like that's good. I mean, what, 30 goals like that? And what he got in the season before we signed him in that, 21-22 season, those numbers were good for a striker. Don't know how many assists he got, but he got over 30 goals. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Regardless of obviously the league, obviously not like he's playing in League Two and stuff like that. He's still playing in, the top league in Portugal. Regardless, he was getting goals. Now to come to the new team, fair enough, new team, whatever, blah blah blah. We gave him all the blighs and all of this stuff that we did in that first season, even though we were seeing him miss open goal after open goal after open goal, and it was pissing me off. Everybody gave him the blighs, and it was kind of, this, that, and the third, when it kind of came, to Nunez. And I thought, okay, Fairs, all right, we're just gonna, let that one live. All right. I'm not gonna say nothing to it. I'm not happy with it. 9 goals in the Premier League. I know he didn't start every game, but still 9 goals, less than 10. It's not really what we're looking for, right? But cool. We kind of let that one go. Then obviously we get to the following season where he does get 18 goals in 54 games. Obviously then coupled with 13 assists. So we're looking at, what's that, 10, 28, plus the 31 GA in 54 games. So again, the GA guys absolutely loved it. Oh my goodness, he got 31 GA and thing. Again, I never really cared. Obviously, when I say I don't care, it's not about they don't matter. It's just I'm looking at the position that this person is playing. I'm looking at the opportunities that this person is getting. I'm looking at everything and I'm saying, yeah, I don't really care in that kind of aspect, right? I'm just more concerned with how many goals did he get? He got 18 in 54. I don't really consider that to be that good, to be honest with you. And again, we'll get onto the big chances missed and all that stuff, in a bit. But just in terms of when I just looked at the goal column, I was like, not really that good, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you almost got as many yellow cards as you did assists anyway, to be honest with you. So I don't know how you want to, throw that one up. But fair enough, cool. We got 18 goals and, whatnot. Now we obviously head to this season. He's played 28 times in all competitions and 6 goals. He's got 4 assists. Again, like I said, I don't really care. He got 6 goals. I mean, again, what would the excuses that I'm hearing from this season is that we don't get him in the right positions, he's not getting enough opportunities, and yada yada yada, and he's not getting the same chances he was getting, this, that, and the third. And hey, I'm not even here to say that those things are wrong. I'm not even here to say that. I'm not even here to argue with anybody if you believe that or if it's factual, whatever. I'm actually not really here to say that. I'm just here to say, does that for you as a football fan, just even forget whatever team, if you saw a player like this, and you know what, you can even couple it with, you watch this person play and you saw that they played 28 matches and had only scored 6 goals as a striker for that team, would you then from another team turn around and say, I want to sign this guy? Like, would you turn around? And this is what it annoys me, but this is what I try to get the point across when I'm talking to Liverpool fans. I'm like, would you yourself set a prime example, Marmoush, right? He's obviously moving to, from what we know, I think the deal's already done and dusted. He's moving to Manchester City. Would you, and obviously some Liverpool fans wanted to sign him as well, which is absolutely fine. Cunha, another one, João Pedro. If we saw that those 3 players had played 28 games and had only scored 6 goals, would you as a fan say, oh, I have to get that guy? I need that guy in my team. Trust me, if we have him in our team, he's going to do a madness. Problem is we got this guy in our team. And all I'm hearing is just excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. It's not even about the missed chances. It's just that you watch this guy play and the outcome is, it seems to always be everybody else's fault as opposed to his. And this is, and to be fair, this is more to the people who are so in love with Darwin Nunez and he can't do no wrong and stuff like that. It's always caveated with, yeah, but the team are not servicing him. Oh, we're not really playing for him. Oh, maybe if Slot change the tactics a little bit, he'll be scoring more goals. That's all I heard at the beginning. Like when Slot first came in, that was one of the main things. It was like, yeah, you know what? When Slot comes in, trust me, man, he's gonna do a madness with Darwin Nunez, man. He's gonna do crazy things, and Darwin Nunez is gonna start scoring goals, and red tear and this, that, and the third. That's not happened. We're like I said, 23rd of January, and he's still sitting on 6 goals. I don't care about the minutes. I don't care about where he's playing. I don't care about none of that stuff. I'm sorry, but there's no way that anybody can convince me and say to me, you looked at that, or sorry, you look at that and say, this guy is someone that we can not even, not even a case of, we can bank on and stuff like that. I'm talking the guy has 6 goals, less than Diaz, less than Gakpo, right? Now, obviously, they played a bit more. Well, Diaz definitely played a bit more than him in terms of minutes and all that kind of stuff. But this guy has 6 goals. Like, I struggle to understand where the thinking comes into it. Now, you guys will watch and you'll see all these Twitter tacticos. They'll tell you everything under the sun. There's a few of them in our fan base, and there's probably like that in every fan base, but there's quite a few in our own fan base, in the Liverpool fan base, who will give you every breakdown possible. They will give you every statistic possible. They will give you everything possible to caveat why he's only on 6 goals and why he doesn't score that many goals. But we're kind of seeing, it's almost like a pattern, if I'm being totally, because we're not seeing, it's not like we're seeing a guy who, has been bagging goals for fun. As I said here, look, I mean, he's got 15 in that season in all comps. The next season, 18. So 15, 15, 30. So 33 there. So he's got 33 so far in the first 2 seasons. Now let's add the 6. So he's on less than 40 goals in 3 seasons at the football club in all competitions. I'm not even going to add all the games up, but in all competitions, that's what he's sitting on. I saw the other day someone doing up, yeah, Darwin's got, can't remember how many GA in this many starts. I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because he hasn't scored all of his goals from the start. He scored some of them off the bench and whatever. So if you're going to do this whole per starts, and yeah, it has to actually be accurate. And for me, that's not an accurate stat because he doesn't score all of his goals from the start. That's why I don't care. Again, I don't care about that stuff. I'm not here to get into the nitty gritty of all of those kind of little things, because the reality is, again, just my own personal opinion, is that when I'm looking at it, I'm like, so this guy that we've seen in 3 seasons so far, and he'll get past the 40 goals, and he might even potentially even touch 50 goals by the time he finishes this 3rd season. Who knows? Let's hope he can get that amount of goals, right? But he's played all of this football, first 2 seasons under the same manager. Didn't really look like it was kind of working. It was all about chaos, right? It was all about, we look such a massive threat. We look such a threat, but we can't seem to score. He can't seem to score that many goals, but we look like a threat. This is in the 22-23 season, I think. Yeah, 22-23, 23-24. Yeah, 22-23 season. 3rd in the big chances missed. The following season, 2nd in the big chances missed with 27. Obviously, it's funny because look at the player that he's actually behind. Now, it's not even about trying to compare him to Haaland, but so this more probably goes, and obviously Marcus Rashford's there. This is in his 1st season. I can't remember. I don't know if Marcus Rashford actually got more goals than him that season. Probably, but I can't really remember. But it's just interesting when I see that, because this goes, I guess, more to the point of what people say about, oh, but look, gee, this is all chaos, right? He's a threat. He's getting there. At least he gets there. What's the point of getting there if you're not really scoring the goals? I see literally no point in that. You know what I mean? I literally see no point in that. Now, I've seen quite a shift more so this season in terms of the way that people are kind of viewing him and stuff like that. Obviously, this season, he's 64th on the list, which is fantastic. 3 big chances missed. That's all he's missed. That's all he's missed. So he's, I guess, in that kind of aspect, that's kind of good, right? 3 big chances missed, and he's got 6 goals. He's got 4 goals, sorry. So almost the same amount of, you know. But listen, I'm not even gonna criticize because it's less. It's less. At least we're starting somewhere, right? With Darwin Nunez. At least we are here where it's less. Let's just hope that doesn't go too far over. The reason why people will never get onto a Haaland, and I'll do a video on that one, is because Haaland will probably score 20 to 25 goals. So missing about 20 to 25, if not way more. Don't think anybody really cares. Would you care as a fan? Just as a football fan? Anybody who's watching this, just you as a fan, would you care? Would you care if your striker was missing that many, but he was still getting you 25 potentially plus goals? Well, I say potentially, Haaland is getting 25 plus anyway in more or less every season. But would you care? I struggle to think that you would care. That's the way I see it. Is I don't think you sitting there watching this video is gonna say, "Oh yeah, man, I proper care." You don't, because your striker's scoring you so many goals anyway. It obviously you don't want them to miss that many chances. Nobody wants a striker who misses so many chances, of course, but it happens, and that part I'm not even stressed about. But you're not even scoring that many goals in order for me to even offset that to say, you know what, but at least he's doing this. We're not even doing that. So when we then having these conversations and people are doing revisionism and the excuses that kind of come up now, obviously since Arne Slot has obviously come in, you can kind of see in terms of the way that he wants Liverpool to play and stuff like that. You know, at times it's the, you know, the press in the 4-2-4 and all of this kind of stuff, right? And obviously you guys can see on the screen here in terms of the way that Liverpool obviously pressing, I think it's against Manchester, you know, Manchester United. You can see here up against Wolves, obviously got the 4 in front there. Obviously Jota was up front for this game. And that's kind of the way that we're doing things. And Darwin, obviously this season, which by the way, I do concede is true. Darwin this season isn't going to be getting the same kind of opportunities, I think, anyway, that he would have been getting in, say, a Jurgen Klopp kind of team. And I think that's kind of then backed up by when we see like certain stats, you know, in regards to, you know, Darwin Nunez, you know, this season, is that some of the stats that I am seeing is kind of like, oh, right, okay, well, this guy's only getting you, you know, he's only getting what goals per game he's getting here is 0.3. He's getting, this is in the 22-20, no, this is this season, I believe, I think. Yeah, this is this season, right? So this season, goals per game, 0.3, but he's getting 1.6 shots per game. Last season, it was 3 shots he was getting per game, but his goals per game was 0.3. So the same as it is now, basically, but he was taking a lot more shots. And then in the first season, it was 2.9, again, 0.3. So it's actually quite consistent, to be fair, with that in itself. So, but he was getting around about, give or take, about 3 shots per game in the last like season. This season, he's only getting himself 1.6. So those shots now are now becoming more about the quality, in terms of the quality of chances, obviously, that, you know, he may or may not be getting. And that's where I look at Darwin Nunez sometimes and I think to myself, yeah, this is where it will become a little bit of an issue for someone like yourself, is because now you're playing in a system, you're playing in a team that you might not even necessarily be getting that many chances, if I'm being totally honest with you. When we look at the stats and stuff like that, in terms of his stats, you can see here, he ranks pretty high in certain aspects, in terms of this is all across Europe. So you can see progressive carrying distance, carries into the final third, carries into the penalty area, miscontrols, that's hilarious. Tackle during take on percentages, touches, yeah, all like, you know what I mean, pretty okay, I guess. In terms of in possession, not great, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not here to fight you about that. The defensive side is an interesting one. He makes 1.35 tackles per 90 minutes. He's ranked in the 97th percentile. Tackles won. Yeah, he's in that 1%. Tackles in the defensive third. We're seeing a lot of that again because of the way that Arne Slot wants his forwards, the way I kind of see his forwards kind of press, the way that he wants a Jota or a Diaz or a Nunez, you know, at times to be able to drop deep and help out in the midfield area, so that we do get those banks of 4, you know, at times when we're facing against certain, you know, certain kind of teams. So obviously that's going to have a, would we say, somewhat detrimental effect potentially to, you know, his goal scoring chances. And again, I'm not even going to disagree necessarily with that. But if that's the case, surely, if we're then basing it, if and by the way, this is just based off if the manager wants to continue playing this way with us, with this striker, if that's the case, then you're better off getting rid of that guy, because then we know that when he does get these opportunities, he's not likely to really score. He's not someone who's that good at finishing. in terms of even the types of finishes. He's got an array of finishing, but he's not good at any of them. There's no finish I look at Darwin and think, yeah, he's got that one in the bag. Like, that is a signature finish. He's got such an array of just different kind of finishing. His technique at times obviously can be quite questionable. But when I look at it, I'm like, okay, so if we've got a striker, whether it's Jota, whether it's Diaz, whether it's Nunez, Gakpo, whoever's up front, yeah, doesn't really matter, right? If you've got any of these guys up front, who are you more likely to think is going to score the 1 or 2 chances that they might potentially obviously get? Now, obviously, looking at those stats that we just saw there, let me even bring that back up for you guys. Looking at those stats, when we see things like this, let's go to defensive. When we look at stuff like that, defensively, as we can see here, I mean, I don't know what Jota's is, I don't know what Diaz is, I don't know what Gakpo's is, but I'm sure that his is probably the best when it comes to the defensive side in terms of the defensive stats. Now, I'm not saying that Arne Slot doesn't love that. He might love that about the striker and think, this is the perfect striker for what I need for my system. I don't know. I don't think so. I think if everybody's fit, Nunez doesn't actually touch the pitch, which also speaks volumes for the would I say the ranking of a player that we signed for about 60 to 80 million. You know, this is a guy that we'd still rather put an injury prone striker up front. We'd rather move Luis Diaz from left wing to striker in order for us to play with that type of striker. And this guy now moves now to the third choice option. It's like, I feel like all the signs point to, yeah, he's maybe not the one. Maybe, like, just maybe he might not be the one, but for some reason the excuses just come flying in, and it's so mad because then he'll have a game like he did against Brentford. He'll come on, he'll bag 2. I need an apology. Oh, gee, I need an apology. If I don't get an apology, you're just a hater. I'm not a hater. I've watched this guy for now coming into his third. Obviously, this being his 3rd season. I've watched him. I've seen what he's been able to do, what he can and can't do. Nunez is an athlete. He is flipping rapid. If you like, listen, if they're spacing behind, he will exploit that because he's super duper quick. Don't think Slot cares about that, to be honest with you, because he's not really using his strikers to run in behind. Do you know what I mean? If that was the case, if we were a team who, you know, our central striker was someone who needed to be able to run into that space, then of course, Nunez, perfect. In transition moments in games, yeah, Nunez can actually be a perfect weapon. That's why I've always said, bench player, I've got no real issues with that. You get me a real fantastic top striker, I've got no real problem. I've got no real problem with that. Unfortunately, though, obviously we don't know what's going to happen, you know, January in the summer and stuff like that. So of course we're going to have to still wait. But unfortunately, we're in this position where we've got these three, I guess, Diaz, Jota, and Darwin Nunez. So we just have to make do with what we've kind of got. Now, again, Liverpool have scored, you know, tons of goals this season, and you know, expected goals, XG, all of that kind of crap, right? So we're doing well in that regard. So you might look at it and think, oh, why would you complain? It's not really about complaining. It's just really, this is more of a conversation, you know, to kind of ask the question, because I feel like at times we're so immersed, obviously, in what's kind of going on. We never ever take a step out. And when things may potentially go wrong or things like that, people are too busy asking questions where sometimes it was already there right in front of you, you know, kind of thing. And I just think that, you know, since we've big up ENDZ, because he did a stream about this, you know, talking about player FC and stuff like that, he is probably one of, and it's not his fault, I guess that's not his fault, you know, by nature, but, you know, because he's got such a cult following, you know, whether it's across social media, at the games and stuff like that. I hear the fans at times and I'm like, you know, you almost enable, it's almost like a parent enabling bad behavior. You know, you don't say anything against it, the child continues being bad. You continue not to say anything against it, the child continues being bad, till they get to the point where, unfortunately, some children, they do something really, really bad. And then it becomes, you know, you've now already gone past that threshold, right? And I feel like that is the biggest thing with Darwin Nunez at this current moment in time. Now, I'm not saying, listen, I don't care what fans do. If they want to chant his name, do that. That's not a problem. I think the only problem I think I ever had with it was when Darwin Nunez missed an open goal in the Europa League last season. And I think he hit the post, went around the keeper, hit the post, Gravenberch finished up. The fans immediately started singing Darwin Nunez's name. And I felt in that moment, I was like, wow. Imagine if you're Gravenberch. Now, listen, I'm not Gravenberch, so I don't know. And this is just me guessing, right? But if I was Gravenberch, wouldn't you think that's a bit mad? Like, don't you think I've just scored but the crowd are chanting Nunez's name, the guy who went round the keeper and missed an open goal. But they're singing his name. They're like, a bit weird though, right? Why would you sing his name? I scored. He's got nothing to do with it. If anything, we should be getting like there should be a bit of murmurs in and around that. But we keep enabling this behavior, keep enabling the behavior. The guy keeps kind of showing you that he's failing at whatever it is you're trying to get him to achieve, and then you're wondering why there's this side of the fan base who really, it seems like they kind of almost hate the guy, and then you've got the side obviously that really love the guy. But the reason why you've got such polar opposites is that you won't have anybody in the middle, really. Like, there might be a few, but it's though they are very much in the minority. The large majority of the fan base is either really hate the guy, or they really love the guy. And it's because I feel more so the people who really love the guy, again, they enable behavior. I say behavior, I keep acting like this is a child, but he's not a child at the end of the day. He's 25, I think. But we're enabling poor performances at times, missed goals, open goals, just poor overall general play at times, not all the time. Sometimes he works his socks off. I saw, tweets and stuff after the Liverpool played Lille, and his defensive stats were through the roof. They were amazing, like tackles and interception, whatever. Like, it was all great. It was all great. No goals, no assists, nothing. But he ran, he tackled, he did all of that kind of good stuff, right? And people were like, "Oh my goodness, this performance and this, that, and the fact." And by the way, I don't even think it was even poor or anything like that. It was just the way I saw that. It was just like, yeah, this is the thing, and this is the almost. I feel like the problem that we have almost when it comes to player FC. If he in a Liverpool sense anyway, he is the biggest sign of player FC, I think, anyway. Between him and Salah, like you can choose either or, but I think between those two, he's like the biggest. And at least Salah is someone who actually does what he's supposed to do, which is put the ball in the back of the net, and he gets the assist on top of that. But this guy doesn't do that on a consistent enough basis, and I just don't know how much longer we're gonna, as a fan base collectively or general consensus, we're gonna sit there and just be like, yeah, no, but it's fine because he's not getting enough chances and he's not playing and this, that, and the other. He is playing. He is getting enough chances in order to show us whether he can be. In fact, it's so funny, yeah, that the whole chances thing, obviously we saw that he only gets, I think it's, what is it, 1.6 or something like that per game in comparison to the 3 he was getting per game. The 3 he was getting per game and still missing. We think that this guy who's now getting less is somehow going to make, the chances are going to be now like more quality, or he's going to have more quality finishing. And I'm like, he's the striker. I just needed to put the ball in the back of the net. Honestly, I just literally need him to do that, because the reality is it's not even like he's the Firmino, where Firmino was someone who didn't put the ball in the back of the net consistently and was more. In fact, I don't even think he even got that many assists. I can't even remember, but I wouldn't. He wasn't that. But guess what he did though? He was able to facilitate, to allow the other two to do exactly what he wasn't doing in terms of the GA, side of things. I don't feel like Nunez is doing that anyway. People want to make this kind of, oh yeah, between him and Salah. Bro, Salah is Salah. Let's stop forcing it. Salah is Salah. You know what I mean? If you put someone alongside Salah long enough, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a good enough connection. Salah is Salah. He'll do what he does regardless. He'll eat always regardless. It's about the other players, whether they can actually fit into what Salah's trying to do, really and truly. And if I'm being totally honest with you, like I say, I think anyway, if we had a game tomorrow, cup final, I don't see Nunez starting. Everyone was fit. Nunez ain't starting. And again, that is the biggest indicator. That is the biggest indicator, because we're seeing that beginning of the season, he wasn't starting. As soon as Jota's available, he's back in. Like, the guy's just, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a case of, why do we then need to make excuses for it? I saw someone talking about minutes. No, yeah, how many minutes he's had since he started playing football. What? So that's why he went around the keeper and missed open goals. That's why he doesn't score that many goals, because he hasn't had that many minutes. Like, you can tell the people who just have no clue about football in a general sense when you hear them say and speak about certain things. And it's just like, certain things are just a practical thing. It's not even about reading about it and reading statistics. Sometimes it's just about, in certain cases anyway, sometimes you just need to watch the player themselves, and you'll be able to gauge something. Obviously, you're not going to be able to gauge everything in terms of the underlying numbers and how much they, how many kilometers they're running. Obviously, of course, so you're not going to know that just by watching them, because that's impossible. Who can do that? Who's got something in their brain, in their eyes, to be able to read those kind of metrics? But when we're just talking about a player, a football player, for me personally, the quicker he goes, the better I think Liverpool can become. I think if Liverpool go out there, I don't know what type of striker. I guess it will really just depend. I think someone who doesn't need a lot of chances to score. So I know that's basically just Haaland effectively, but someone in that kind of mode who they don't need 3 shots per game and maybe doesn't even score any of them, in order for us to, I don't want to say get better, because obviously it's weird because Liverpool's attack is scoring goals, but I do think that the decision making at times is very woeful. I think one of the things I highlight, and that's not a Darwin Nunez problem, by the way, that's an attack problem, just so that people understand. I think one of the things I saw is I think Liverpool had like 37 shots or whatever it was against Brentford, or was it Brentford or Forest? Might have been, no, it was Brentford. Yeah, it was Brentford. Yeah, against Brentford, you come away with 2 goals. To me, that is poor. That is so poor. Obviously, I get it. You as a viewer, you as a fan, you don't care because you just want to get the 3 points. And ultimately, I just want to get the 3 points, right? Which I'm happy that he was able to, be able to get for us. But I'm sorry, there's no way that you read that and thought that that was good. That's FIFA. That's literally what would happen on FIFA. You have 37 shots. I think it was about 8 on target. That's poor. That's so poor, man. So poor. You know what I mean? We're not talking about we had 37 shots and we had 16 to 18 on target, but the keeper that's different. That is totally different. Then obviously you have to start looking at the chance, and it's that we had 37 shots and 8 on target. We had 4 times more off the, you know what I mean? It's just 4 times more off target. That's crazy. That is crazy. And you only walked away with 2 goals towards the end. It looked like it was even heading towards a 0-0 at the way that it was kind of going, which shows you at times decision making and, in terms of whether it be a shot or the right movement or the right pass, whatever it might be. At times, I just feel Liverpool's attack. That's why I feel like a lot of people from the outside looking in, you might look at it and if you're not a fan of Liverpool, you might think, nah, nothing really to complain about. But I keep telling people, if you just watch Liverpool at times, I'm not saying there's everything to complain about. It's not even about that. It's just, you can just see where there can be improvements, at least. Let's put it that way. You can at least see that. It's all well and good. Yes, we're potentially on course for winning the Premier League right now, and it is really focused right now. But I always try to look now, but I also do look long term, kind of thing. I don't envisage City being this shit, next season. I think Arsenal again will be like, I just think it'll be a lot tougher next season anyway. So I start to look at it and think, are we ready? Are we getting close to being there? And it's weird because we're top, right? So it's like, I'm almost fighting with myself almost, because I'm like, to me, it's just because, not just because, but one of the main things is that the league being not as good, in my personal opinion, this season, in terms of challenges and stuff like that. It's, as long as you can remain consistent, and I feel like Nottingham Forest are kind of showing you that, like, as long as you can be consistent, then really and truly you can kind of probably stay up there, because usually what you would have is, even if you are consistent, the quality of teams who are above you, they're so good that it doesn't really matter how consistent you are. Whereas now, that's not the case. It's just, you just need to be consistent. You don't need to play the best or anything. Just be man consistent. You'll be all right. You get what I'm trying to say? And I think that's also helping Liverpool as well this season. Not to take away from Liverpool, but I do think that does play, a bit of a part. But listen, it is what it is. I'd love to know your thoughts. And again, listen, don't take this as me trying to crash it on him. Just take this more as, okay, are you in that category of, revisionism? Are you in that category of excuses? If so, let me know in the comment section why. What is it about Nunez that makes you think that after almost 3 years here, that it's potentially just going to work and we should keep hold of him, and he's going to turn out to be a really good signing for us? If you're not on that side, also let me know why in the comment section. I'll catch you guys in a bit, man. Peace.